Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
Pretty face like that, I can't be mad at you. An independent woman with an attitude. I can give you what you want, but you don't really need it, cause you never want for nothing. So it wouldn't be wrong to ask you to my place. If you tell me that you can't, then baby, it's okay.
Hi, and welcome to Crimes to Remember podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and subscribing and liking our channel. Also, of course, I'm here today with my co-host, Neil Woods. Neil, say hi.
Hey, everybody, how are you? I should have a mic in front of me. Hey, everybody, how are you?
You're
It's good to see you. Flawless. Hey, Shari, how are you?
The funny part is I'm good. So today, well, one thing about today's story is, it's complex. It's a lot to it. So today we're looking at the case of the most notorious female gangster assassin in the U.S., and her name was Gakirah Barnes, also known as K.I. So K.I., she would say that it was short for Gakirah, but a lot of people always said that it was K.I. for Killer Instincts because she was excellent as far as shooting a gun. She was very good. So much so to the point that she trained other young gang members on how to shoot. She was that good.
Oh, boy.
And it's crazy because it as far as her childhood starting out. So Gakirah Barnes was born January 21st, 1997. And her mother and father, she was very, very close to her mother. Now, unfortunately, though, right before she turned 1, her father went to the door and he was gunned down at the door by AK-47 and killed in front of her. And she was just about to be 1. And then later on, her brother would also gets murdered also.
Jeez.
Too, unfortunately. So she was no stranger to murders and death. So that's the unfortunate part for her to experience it that young. I think that's what really made a difference. And so she actually started out where she was quiet and shy, very smart. She did excellent in school. She graduated 8th grade. And then once she got into the 9th grade, that's when things started to deteriorate. She started skipping school. She wasn't focused really on her classes. And then she started hanging out with members that were in a gang. And she got close to them. And it's almost to the point where you sort of feel like, because she felt like she wasn't getting any love or support at home, that she decided that she'd, depend on a gang in order to be situated. Because you have to remember, a lot of these young people, with the love and support that they're not getting at home, they feel like in a gang, they have their own ready-made family. And that they genuinely, truly care about them. So, of course, they'll do anything for them, which, to be that young, and it's easy to influence her. So that's where things start to go downhill. So she's around 13. So she starts with, drinking and experimenting with drugs and whatnot and hanging with gang members. So now she's out here and she actually is using social media a lot. And when she ends up using social media, now they actually come up and they get a term from it called cyber banging. When you are talking trash on social media or you're dropping hints of bodies you might have collected. In Chicago, she was, born in Chicago, and Chicago was rough. Chicago was definitely rough because out there in Chicago one year, there was actually 21 shootings, 400 murders, and one weekend, the highest number for shootings was 54 people being shot the one weekend. So Chicago was nothing to take lightly. And she decided to be part of Black Disciples gang. So it's the BD. So that's how that starts off. Now the crazy part is though, she's real close to Tuka. Now the guy Tuka, whose real name is actually Shondell Gregory, he ends up getting murdered by a rival gang.
Okay.
So this devastates her. But so much so that losing Tuka is really what set it off for her.
Okay.
Right, when it came to the gang. So now she's serious and she wants to avenge his murder. Right. So
Gotcha.
Tuka. So now they changed the gang name to Tukaville. Okay, and this is where the gang name Tukaville comes because they killed Tuka, so they call it Tukaville. Gotcha. So she wants to avenge the murder of Tuka, and then she starts going back and forth, beefing with different gangs, or she starts to try to run up on them when they're out. So now her and one of her other associates decide they're going to run up on O.D. Perry. Now, O.D. Perry, he's in his gang, and the crazy part is, like, it's, I think, what is it, August 10th or whatever, when he's getting shot, when he's outside. And the sad part is, now, of course, there's no proof. This is the thing. She's not convicted, okay?
Right.
Someone said they saw her shoot him, but she ends up not being convicted. So O.D. Perry ends up getting murdered. Gakirah runs up on him. The point is, she drops hints on social media and on Twitter talking trash about catching him out.
Murder.
Right. So the minute she kills O.D. Perry.
Which is good for the investigation.
Basically, right.
It's going to be pretty easy.
Like, listen, she would put things on there and be like, oh, I see Perry, O.D. Perry went down and da-da-da. Like, she'd always have something to say. The crazy part is, so now because of O.D. Perry going down, now it's O-Block. So this is where you get Tukaville battling O-Block.
Gotcha.
Okay? Because really she was part of, before Tukaville was considered, even though they're Black Disciples, it's the STL, but then they have so many.
These are all gangs only in Chicago, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Well, some of them have spread out. Not to mention, let's be mindful of the fact.
Philadelphia?
Like when it comes down to, because don't give me the quoted wrong.
No,
but,
I got you. It's okay.
The Black Disciples and whatnot, that was started back with, as considered Black Pea Stones, or the original name Black Pea Stone Rangers, and then just took it down to Black Pea Stones. They were actually founded in 1959. So all of the Black Disciples and like the Gangster Disciples, they're branching off of these gangs.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. They were started in 1959.
Wow. Okay.
And then of course in the 60s it was Larry Hoover and David Barksdale that also
I hate to make it funny, but like it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to do like a gang commercial, like in the style of like an old like we've been ganging out here since 1959.
Yes, like they could have founding day. Like it's not a game. Like
come by for your free bullets.
Basically. Like they really took this seriously. So Gakirah was happy that she made that move. But O.D. Perry was very prominent. So the fact that she made a move, and at the time she did that, she was 13.
Holy
so the fact that she made that move on O.D. Perry made it very relevant. She doesn't really catch a body until she's 14, though. Now, even though you think, you're like, darn it.
Best played plans of mice and men.
Nobody at 13, but 14.
14. I think it's going to be my year. You know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. It's going to be my year.
Change the game up. You're like, I thought I was going to get away with this. The crazy part is she does.
Holy shit.
Now, even though they believe she did it, they don't have any evidence. So they can't come at her for O.D. Perry's murder. Right. And of course, O-Block is mad. So they want a gun for her. Yeah, they're not playing any games. Now, another thing is King Von comes onto the set. Now, King Von is a whole different breed. Like, you would doggone have to do a story on him because his life, like, he wanted to gangbang. That's all he wanted to do.
Really?
And he figured, and he reached out to her because he would flirt with her and he liked her. Okay. But on social media, he would still say to her, you're still an op. Meaning, we're opponents. Like, I'm not your friend, we're enemies.
Right.
Even though he would say, well, when are you going to stop gangbanging? And she was like, never. And she was like, when are you? He's like, I'm never going to stop gangbanging. He said, but if we ever stopped, he was like, I would marry you. And she was like, I hear you. She said, but don't remember, we're still ops. You can still get got.
Gangbanger love. Look at that.
Basically.
Look at that respect.
So they would go back and forth.
I can't even get that respect in my relationships. Jesus.
So
sorry. Go ahead.
They felt like King Von had made the move on Tuka. Someone dealing with him made the move. They felt that way. Or that King Von had something to do with it. Even though they met and they liked each other, she made the move on O.D. Perry. And then that's when King Von wasn't playing with her as much. He would still be like, good morning, wifey, and text these. He posts things like that on social media. But he still say to her, if I catch you, it's going to be something on site. So he ends up running into her on a train and starts punching her in the face and beating her up and takes off. Then goes on social media to brag about it.
Wow.
She said, "You're right. You did punch me in the face, but I'm pretty sure my 45 will be able to put holes in your face when I catch you." She's like, "So it is what it is." She ends up going after one of his cousins and shoots her. And the cousin makes it and identifies her as the shooter.
Damn.
But then withdraws the statement so she doesn't get charged.
Wow.
Right. So this is where everything goes so downhill with Chicago with this gang situation because people are scared to testify.
Sure.
Or a witness might come up missing or they'll recant a story. So she was able to pull that off. Then she was known as an assassin, female assassin, because people would pay her to kill people. And she had no problem with that. She was like, as long as you pay me, I'll kill whoever. She just didn't care. She was, she prided herself on that. Now, she was actually suspected of 3 to 5 cases. One wouldn't even go to trial. The other one recanted. Another one went to trial. She still got off. Witness went missing. Unfortunately, I don't know how that happens. Go figure. So, convenient enough. Right. So,
just luck is on some people's sides,
basically.
What I mean? That's what it
now,
is.
King Vaughn's livid because she went after the cousin and she said, she's like, don't forget, I'm still not sweet. I get down in these streets. She's like, so she made it clear and he's like, when I beat you up, I should have spit on you then and took you out. And she's like, you still catch me. So the crazy part is she goes and he retaliates and he goes and shoots someone else in her circle.
Gotcha.
So she's livid. So on site, she's like, she has to get him. She's like, I'm going to catch him one of these times. I'm going to get him. Another thing that goes wrong is she has a little cousin by the name of Taquan Tyler, and he's 13. Now, his mom moves him out of that area of Chicago and puts him into a suburb because she doesn't want him in his gang life. But him and Gakirah are very, very close. So at the end of the day, he wanted to always go see her. The mom would be like, I really don't want you in that area. So he said, well, listen, can I at least go to this house party that she's going to? I'm going to be with her. I'll be safe. So the mom was worried, but she said, you know what? I'll let you go to the party, but I'll pick you up. I don't want you traveling after the party. I want to be able to pick you up. Now, the crazy part was, little did the mom know that 13-year-old Taquan Tyler was actually being taught how to stick up the adult drug dealers, rob them, and shoot if he had to murder them. Wow. So basically, and
and
of course,
so she's 14 or how many
14 now? 14? She's like 14, but she's teaching him. Yeah, maybe I think she's hitting 15 now, but but
he might be
her
12,
first kid she did that at 13 when she first came out, right? And then she gets. She catches her first body on 14 though. Right. So
he might still be 14 or 15. He might be 12.
So now Taquan Tyler is 13. So he goes to go meet her to go to the party. And unfortunately, shots ring out. And they don't think it's intended for him. But then they afterwards realize that Taquan Tyler was robbing these drug dealers. And it was probably the retaliation of that when they caught him coming out the party. So not only did they shoot him, but as the mom pulled up, she saw her son laying in the street and he died there, the 13-year-old. And that was done right in front of Gakirah. So it just made her, and then that's when she decided to change her hook on social media to Taquan Assassin.
You're really coming with a crazy one today.
Yeah, listen, Gakirah Barnes is nothing nice. She was a force to be reckoned with. And she was very proud of the things she did. But when I say that her story is so complex, like, it's crazy. Like, the weekend, like I told you, that one weekend, that it was
58, 59 bodies, 59
I think it was 56,
shootings.
Yeah, like 56, something like that.
56, something like that.
So, but it was just rough. Like, all her friends were in the gang, but every time you turned around, someone was dropping.
Right.
Like, they had so many different retaliations that they were just trying to get to everybody. It's just so much.
Just going back and forth.
Right.
So, so the mother sees now what she was trying to protect from this kind of situation. Rolls up to that party. He's dead, and we're just left where I imagine Gakirah is probably like, I'm gonna go full nuclear, like, because she cared for her.
Right. She called him her brother, actually, because they grew up so close, even though he was her cousin, though. Another person, I don't even know if you even could bring it on the screen, though, because I forgot to mention it. Oh. Do you remember the TV show The Wire with Little Snoop?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So the TV show The Wire that was done, in Baltimore, of course, Little Snoop was a dyke female that was on the show that always had cornrows, and she was notorious. She was a shooter for real. Like, she was vicious. And in that TV show, she was known for murdering people, and she would always take people out. And Gakirah Barnes was so good with her shooting and murdering people that they actually said that they coined her after Little Snoop.
Wow.
They said Little Snoop was actually coined after her for the TV show because they were like, that's how notorious she was known to be in Chicago.
So this is Little Snoop.
Little
right?
Snoop.
Or no. This is not.
Little Snoop from The Wire.
Well, from The Wire.
Yeah, it was Little Snoop from The Wire.
Sorry, everybody.
Right.
This is producer taking a
right,
while.
There you go. Yep, Little Snoop. And she was a beast. She was a beast in that TV show. But yes, they actually said it was.
But who was the friend? I'm sorry. What was the friend's name that this was modeled at? Oh, sorry.
No,
this
what
is
I'm saying
Gakirah.
Is this TV show, right? This
Yeah, I've seen it. Okay,
but they say right. But
so
the nickname for Gakirah was Little Snoop because that's how rough she was.
14 years old, she gets the nickname Little Snoop.
Because she was
how
known
prolific.
To be, and then she changed her name when her cousin was murdered.
Based on a TV show.
She changed her name to Taekwon Assassin.
Wow. That is like dangerous. That is like crazy.
She was suspected of 3 or 5 murders, but with the numbers, they said it was at least 17. They feel though.
With like a rep that's just like, oh yeah, you're like the fictional character. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts. What a reputation. That's insane.
Yeah, and it's sad because he was coming back to the neighborhood just to visit her that night to go to the party, and of course, then ends up getting shot.
Yeah.
And the mom said she didn't want him back in that area. So it's just.
I mean, at this point, so I don't know. So I imagine she goes down. Like, what is her response? Like, I can't. She has to be.
And it ends up being a guy named Nashawn Flowers that shot Taquan Tyler, and he ends up getting charged. And Nashawn Flowers was arrested, and he ended up getting 55 years for the murder of him. Yeah, and that just messed her mind up. And another thing, too, you have to remember, the reason why Gakirah shot O.D. Perry is because she felt that O.D. Perry killed Tuka.
Right.
So that's how, and see, this is how everything just started to stem. So they feel like, you take one, I take one.
Right.
So then it would be Tuka Block and O Block. Tuka Block. And they just kept battling, where they just wanted to see how many members they could take out. Then, it's just, she would pose on social media, and after O.D. Perry was shot, not only did she pose on social media, she posed with the gun that he had on him, that she had to have taken. Right. So she would, like, taunt them, and she would just, and...
Holy cow. That is, so, I mean, there's no way she's getting out of it. I mean, I don't actually know yet, so I don't know.
And the crazy part is, it's a lot of rappers that mention K.I. in their rap songs for being an assassin and being a good murderer, because she was such a good shot, like, as far as shooting. With her retaliation and the things that she did, King Von was best friends with T-Roy. And King Von, T-Roy, they would start running up on people and committing murders. So, the crazy part is, King Von and T-Roy and another friend, they ran up on one of her associates. So she was livid. They had killed, then when they were shooting, they shot Modell, and he was shot 5 times. And then it was another kid, Miles Turner. It was Modell McKinley, Miles Turner. Now, Modell McKinley was in a gang. He got shot 5 times. But Miles Turner wasn't even a gang member. He was in school. He was a football player. He gets shot, ends up paralyzed, and loses the football career. All because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Then King Von runs up on P5, and he's shot in the head 6 times. Now, Gakirah is like, they're just going to keep going for war to see who they can take out of whoever. So Gakirah decides she's going to run up on King Von and T-Roy with her friends. She runs up on King Von, shoots him in the leg, shoots T-Roy. She kills T-Roy. You done just shot King Vaughn. He lives, but you done killed his best friend.
Yeah,
right.
Worst possible
So right
outcome.
there, she definitely put a bullseye on her head.
Yeah, you're done.
I mean, it was a mess. And then she was mad because her homie, Little B, was killed, and she wanted retaliation. So she turns around, and she ends up killing Blood Money. They called him Blood Money, and he was going to be a rapper. He had actually just signed to Interscope, and then gets murdered.
Yeah, I've heard of Interscope. Okay.
She wanted revenge,
Shit.
so she was going hard. She wasn't. She posts guns on social media. Right. She would drop tags. Like when the one person got murdered at the bus stop, she was like, yeah, I can make that bus stop famous. Right. Like she would say fly things so you would know. And her and King Vaughn were slick. King Vaughn would actually post 4 to 5 minutes after a murder's done. Like he would murder someone and then post it. So you're like, fam, no one even knows yet, but yet you make a comment talking about we caught him at a bus stop, we caught him outside the store, because that's what some of them, like one of them was known for having the laser pointer on his gun. So when they murdered him, they took the gun, and you saw they had the gun in the video, the same gun. So they would drop hints and do things, but King Vaughn, he ended up going to jail for like 3 years at one point, waiting on his case to go to trial, and he beat it.
Damn.
King Vaughn beat all of his cases. He beat all of his cases, and they believed that he killed Gakirah but they just, you couldn't prove it. So she shot him. He shot in the leg. He's mad. He's going off. You done took T-Roy, but I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna catch you. So they battle back and forth, but they'll message each other sometimes. Like you be like, what kind of love is it? You're like, I don't want anyone to have a crush.
What a strange
Even though
relationship.
she would always say, I know he doesn't like me or care about me. I just believe he really wants to set me up. That's how she really felt. Anyway,
right.
Even though she flirt with him and he flirt with her, but the whether they liked each other or were attracted to each other, their violence, their propensity for violence and them wanting to kill people, or the feeling of, I'm not going to allow you to disrespect me. Secondly, if you came for one of my members, now I have to come for you. That's just how they looked at it. Like the ways of the street always outweighed any other thing, because they look at it as the gang is their family. So why wouldn't they?
Well, right. It's also the closest thing we have to like oldie times, like the closest thing to like Rome, where it's just like two people that hate each other. They have different families, like
right.
Montague Capulets, we could say as an example, but that's ridiculous because this is like I'm talking old school Rome. They're just like, no, we're just gonna kill each other until it's done.
Right.
Yeah.
And my thing is, it's almost like it got to the point where you felt like they just didn't want to leave anybody standing.
Right.
Like that's really what it came down to, and it was crazy because at the time, now mind you, this is back in the day, so you're looking at like from between 2011, 2014.
Okay.
She's heavy on Twitter, but back then, Gakirah had like over 4,700 followers on Twitter. Like back then, that was unheard of for just some. But she was that notorious in the streets.
Right.
Everybody knew her as assassin because, like I said, she'd changed her name to
for murder.
yeah, definitely. That she was not a game, and that's why she called herself the Taekwondo assassin. She meant it. She made no gripes about things she did, and it was crazy because her mom would always say she was such a good kid, but her mom said, when she got older, like around like 16 or 17, her mom said she could see the devil in her eyes.
Wow.
She could tell her daughter was lost.
Yeah, you see so much violence at a young age. Again, I feel like people are like, this is crazy, and it's, people they're hyper violence. But, sure, at the same time, you're like, yeah, I know, but while she's committing and saying this stuff online, she's 15 years old. Like, she's 14, 15 years old. It'd be weird if she was she's just allowed into a theme park by herself. Do you know what I mean?
It's ridiculous.
Like, it's...
And the death she saw, now another gang member, Boss Trails. Boss Trails was real close with K.I. They were close. And he was fed up with the gang. So he was actually getting ready to move so he could, get his life together. 2 days before he was leaving, they take Boss Trail out. So,
it's like a movie. You can't even get out of it. You can't even get out of the life.
You would think that he would have made it, and he was leaving in 2 days, but they got him before he made it.
I'm hoping that somebody in the story made it, but it doesn't sound great. So,
it sounds horrible.
Yeah, okay. So, wow.
And Jerome Woods, that was Jay Money. He ended up getting killed. And Jay Money was shot 4 times in the head. And K.I. then made a joke on social media, so they felt that she was the one who ended up taking Jay Money down because she had made the joke. And that's one thing about Gakirah Barnes. She was good for shooting you in the head. Her aim was very good. Her aim was dead on. She was vicious with that.
That's an Annie.
So yeah, she definitely could. Yeah.
What? So at this point, though, like we're still just going tit for tat back and forth. Like the gangs are just like the two gangs at this point. The names, Gakirah, Taekwondo Assassin for her, but the gang at that point, like, are they still affiliated with gangs and they're still like taking members and stuff? Like
the thing is, right? So they always
there's so many people dying.
Right, they're recruiting members all the time, and then not only that, Chicago was so bad they would call it Chirac, like Iraq.
Chirac, yeah.
So that was a Chirac, and they look at it as like the Chirac history of everything that was going down at the time.
Shit.
The crazy part is though, April 11th, 2014. Gakirah was getting together, and it was like around 10 something. She was heading out, and then she was gonna go meet one of her friends. So she's getting herself together. The sad part is though, she tweeted out where her location was that day. And my thing is this. I almost feel like I feel like it was almost a gesture to say like, bitch, come for me. Come get me.
Right.
I really do, because when you know that you have a target on your head and when you know that somebody is definitely going to try and take you down, that I would think that would be the last thing you want to do. But I feel like if I was to tweet where I was, knowing that somebody was gunning for me, to me, that's really me asking you to come get me. Because, I can think I'm invincible, but it doesn't mean I am.
Right, exactly. Right, this isn't even, I was at Rome, is that like old, this is just Old West 101. This is like, she just put a message up in the town square. It was like, I'm going to be here. I don't know. Come find out. Come figure it out. We'll have a duel. Like, this is crazy. So she's just boasting on Twitter or boasting wherever.
So she would always boast about her stuff. So she drops on Twitter where her location is. Just straight location. That's it. That's crazy. So King Vaughn and them see it. He runs up on her. And she's shot 9 times. Jaw, abdomen, stomach, everywhere. And she fights to live, but she keeps moving a little, and then she just collapses, and then of course she dies. And she's 17 when she's gunned down that day. Jeez. Yeah, but she's believed to have killed 17 people, and she was only 17 years old. Isn't that crazy? Now, of course, Tuckerville, that's who she represented. Tuckerville is livid. There's no way you can take Gakirah Barnes out and think that this should be okay. So Tuckerville takes to the street, and they shoot 36 people in 36 hours.
Holy shit.
Isn't that crazy? They get live. They go for broke. Tuckerville's like, I can show you better than I can tell you. 36 people in 36 hours. Just to let you know that Gakirah Barnes was a force to be reckoned with. So if you think you're just going to take her down and no one's going to get any smoke, what? You're dumber than we thought.
Have you ever seen the movie Gone in 60 Seconds? It's like the same concept, but with murder. That's insane.
That's crazy.
Holy.
Listen, when I say they got live, let me say something. People don't understand. This is what I'm trying to tell you. People do not understand. If I told you about one of my vacations when I was on the West Coast, you would be like, what? Are you joking? Listen, like certain places, you'd be amazed. Like, listen, we talk about Philly all the time.
Sure.
But the sad part is when you go to some of these places,
it's not organized.
Wait, what? You be
some places it's organized.
Listen, and it's serious. It's not a game. They're playing for keeps. Yep. 36 people in 36 hours.
What in the?
Yep.
And then I know you would tell. I mean, I know you're coming.
Some survived, but yeah, they went hard. They were like, forget that. And then Antron Young, he was called Big A.
Okay.
So he changed his hook on social media to Big Aski. Big ASKI, as if to drop out a hint, like, we took down KI.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. And King Vaughn made jokes and stuff.
Right.
But they didn't have enough evidence to charge him with that. And of course, years later, they were able to figure out that, yeah, he did it. Now, the crazy part with King Vaughn is King Vaughn beat all of his cases and never got charged. And then, of course, was a phenomenal rapper. Famous rapper. He killed the game and was doing great and going hard around Little Durk and all of them. He was going hard. Unfortunately, him and his homie were in Atlanta at this hookah lounge, and they gunned him down. Yep. King Von was gunned down November 6, 2020
Gotcha.
at a hookah lounge in Atlanta. Yeah, mortally gunned down. Like they were just gunning for him. But he was arguing with somebody as it was. And, the argument, was going to end in their favor. And when they took down, the crazy part is, Gakirah Barnes, she died at 17, but King Von, at least he made it to 26. But he always said he was going to die young regardless because he said he wasn't going to get out the game. But he even made references to shooting or murders in his rap songs. He didn't care. It just amazes you that some people would blatantly disrespect somebody's murder or death, or like Gakirah and them, they'll make jokes like, "You going to the funeral? I might drive by." Like,
Right.
You're like, really? Like, yeah,
they're still children. That's the thing. They're still children.
They're still juveniles.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yep.
When you said, I think the cabaret she was.
Of course, days later.
Oh, this is still going. Jesus.
Big I was shot, though.
So, yeah.
Big A was shot, though. Days later, Big A was shot. But they believe that Big A had helped King Von anyway. When that they went with him for King Von to take her down. Because King Von had already said, he was like, I'm going to gun you down the streets.
Right.
He had posted something like that. So he wasn't, he wasn't playing any games. And they had no proof. And he would always say he didn't do it. And then someone else said he didn't. But, witnesses didn't want to come forward and all. But years later, they were able to, King Von, yes, he did take her out. But the thing was, they never really had enough evidence for it to really go to court to be able to hold up. And not another factor that they dealt with in Chicago is witnesses would get scared. Or you had a few witnesses that turned up missing. So you're like, why would I want to testify when you're like, I can be putting my family in danger? So that's why a lot of these murders, no one paid for it. And they did their own justice. Like when police would come around, of course, their motto was, I'm not going to tell the police because I already know who it is. I can just take care of myself. Why bother? Yeah.
Damn. Too intense. It's too intense.
Wasn't
it's
that
too
crazy?
much. It's just.
And the thing is, the way King Von moved as far as with him killing people, like, it's crazy. It's just a long story. But yeah, they actually did a story on her, and the story was on Hulu. The Untold Story of a Gangster Girl. But yeah, she's actually known as America's most notorious female gang assassin. Yeah.
That's crazy. Put it on the tombstone, I guess. We're in the Old West. You might as well put it on there because you earned it. And it's terrible to say, but it's just like, wow, that is a title. That is a crazy
She actually tweeted at 11:36 that she was over by Eberhard Street, and at 11:49 a.m. they shot her. Isn't that crazy?
It's such a strange. You think she was just goat? Yeah, you just like she was goating.
I felt like she was like,
invincible.
Let's bang this out.
Right.
I felt, and she probably felt she was invincible. But my thing is this: if I was in her position and I took out that many people, I would still feel I could take you down before you can get me. But that's always been a joke I've said. If somebody was gunning for me, your best bet is just make sure when you draw, better be Picasso. That's it.
Right.
Like, because if I make it, then I've got to take you down. Like,
sure.
It's survival of the fittest. We have to be realistic.
Well, it's such a bad plan. Okay, so it can't. Well, yeah, but if she had put that online and then planned on setting them up, she did a very bad job. She literally has the element of surprise because she only posted the address, right? You were just like, she only posted her location.
She only dropped.
She plotting to kill them?
She only dropped.
Trying
It
to
was
draw
like
them
around
out?
60. I think it was 64th. Right, 64th and Eberhard.
Okay.
In Chicago, just dropped the location.
But you
She
think
dropped
that
like an actual. She dropped like an actual 63 something address, but it was that. Yeah, it was right at the corner, 64th and Eberhard in Chicago, and they just shot her.
You would
and
think
he
that,
ran up on her, but he was waiting to get her and shot her 9 times.
Him waiting isn't. It's such a crazy. Like I mean, again, we'll never know, but it's just like you put your address on. Okay, are you goading to get him out? So obviously you should be ready and surprise him if you think he's going to show up, and then take him out if that's the goal. I don't know why I'm trying.
I don't know. I wonder if maybe I wonder if maybe she was high and wasn't thinking, and she meant to text it to somebody versus just being like on Twitter. But she didn't hide anything. She put everything on Twitter though, and she just didn't have any gripes about that.
You're gonna get got. I mean,
yeah, at some point, you're gonna get got though. You got to be realistic.
Playing with fire.
We're not invincible.
Playing with fire.
I like to think I'm invincible. Until I walk out here and somebody hit me with the car. All right, but it's cool.
It's all good. It's all good. Damn.
Yeah. So what did you think of her story?
I thought it was. Gang violence we haven't hit on. Like, this is a different place today, and I'm kind of glad we did, because these strings of murder, sometimes they're just, I think like people just explain them. It's like, well, that's just violence. I'm like, no, that's a string of murders done by a person. It's a serial murder.
And the thing is, they just look at it as well as gang violence. But they're like, well, they're getting rid of the gang members, so we're good. And it's like they don't want to investigate or they don't want to take the time, because they look at it like, well, this is just another gang member. He probably had it coming anyway. So like, people don't understand, these gangs are vicious. Like, some people would never know. Like in Ohio and certain states where let me say something. If you knew about the gangs in certain states, you'd be like, are you joking? Like, really? Like, you'd be amazed. It's crazy, though.
It's weird. The fact that we're hitting on this now is because, if it's just people, if people understand that there's some weird quirk about a killer and, oh, well, he tied them up and did stuff, you're like, oh, yeah, it's a serial killer. But when you describe violence going on in Chicago right now, like, people are like, well, that's just violent crime, and I'm like
right. And the wording makes me laugh, because you're not saying that Gakirah is a serial killer, and you can't say, I guess, because you're like, she wasn't convicted. Okay, she still killed these people. Once you murder 3 or more people, you are considered a serial killer. It's like, stop playing. Like, once they've got 3 bodies on them, they do classify. Don't lie to yourself. She was a beast, though. But I wanted to do this story because, one, it was different. And it's different stories that I want to touch on as it is. Okay, so now we're at the segment of What Irked Your Soul This Week. So, normally I give you a hard time, but I'm not going to today. What irked your soul this week?
Oh, God. Where does the irk begin? I don't know. Let's keep it short. I think the younger generation and how they communicate about their finances. I've been dealing with a tenant, and I've told you, we talked about it before the podcast. I was dealing with a tenant who was just habitually yeah, that's right. I rent property, guys. Oh no, what? Oh, that's right. I'm that rich ass. No, nice enough to buy the house, right? And I had a tenant in there, and just communication. When money's involved, communication should be the utmost. Like, doesn't matter. You're hiring someone, whatever it is. The utmost apparent thing of like, I need communication on finances when stuff moves, and just people are just fucking communicating like garbage. Sherry, they just don't give a fuck. And I was fighting. I'm literally yelling at not even a person I'm renting to last night, yelling because he's asking me why he can't stay here for free. Like it was as if we lived in a dimension that it did not exist. He was like, but I don't understand because the room will be vacant. I'm like, you don't understand a lot.
The fact that he had the audacity to say the room is going to be vacant, why can't I just be in there? Okay, well, you know what? Don't get me started. I was getting ready to say something. I just think it was going to go too hard. I think it was going to go too hard in an analogy.
It's too much. It's too much. So, I mean, hey, if your situation's fucked, what hurts my soul is when your situation's fucked as a human being in the world.
Right.
And what hurts my soul is when those people, unfortunately, just keep that shit to themselves and they put that shit on other people. That's what hurts my fucking soul. It's like, yo, deal with your shit. Be transparent about it. When you're I hate people that like have their shit fucked up and just try to hide it, move away from it. Oh no, I'm fine. Like, yeah, no, everything's. Oh, he's just acting crazy. He's acting crazy because you owe him money and he keeps showing up places. Why don't you go deal with that and get that shit moved off your plate? Like, that's what hurts my soul. I've been dealing with it for a bit, so I got a little irk myself. There you go. There's an actual irk your soul.
I'm proud of you.
Happy? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you because usually you never have one and you act like nothing irks you. So something finally irked the shit out you. So I'm proud. I'm not happy that it irked your soul, but you got dud tenants, and some people are not too smart. Younger people now don't want to work though. I swear they don't. Listen, they feel like they're entitled to money. First of all, like, I just don't get it. And my nephew say it all the time too. He used to be like, why would I spend my money when I can spend yours?
Right. Yeah, it's just blatant. It's just blatant. Like, well, this is the system.
Like they're entitled.
Yeah, well, and you know what? To a credit, parts of America haven't. Like, we've failed, and then also they've seen bits of success come from only bad places. I mean, it's funny that we're talking about gang violence, and because I'm not saying these guys were, the people that are in my house or anything like that. I'm saying though, when you have abject like violence in a community, things like this, like people who are desperately trying to make their lives better or in a bad situation. You know, you can expect all the niceties and like, you know, decorum between two people to be gone. That's not a thing. Like, and even if you're trying to help them, I was like, dude, you're the only person that I've and this is not the tenant, this is like the cousin of the town. I'm like, dude, you're the only person I've ever met that I'm literally helping you and you're spitting in my face. Yep. Like, that is the craziest thing.
And that's how people do. That's the part that irks your soul. You will break your neck or do favors for people, and then they just don't appreciate it, or then they screw you over.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, like, I didn't have to help you.
Yeah.
I was trying to be nice because we were friends.
Because we're you and friends.
And then what amazes me is they'll be like, so we're not friends now? You're like...
What? Well, you just want everything.
And you're like, now you lost your mind.
Yeah,
you know what? You be like, now I think you can't afford to think straight because you really are playing with my emotions. Like, come on now. You're like, get your life right. Get your life straight before you irk my soul. Come on.
How about you?
I don't have time for that.
I feel like we've called a decent amount of irks, but did you have a specific irk from this? I mean, you know,
No, but me and my girlfriend were joking about something yesterday, and the main thing that irks me is these young people in school, the way they deal with these teachers or the way they talk, and they're disrespectful.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like they have so many rights because nothing happens to them.
Yeah.
Like some girl posted it was a teacher, she said in her school, they had found pictures of her, so they posted her, and then the girl wasn't suspended or anything, so the teacher was like, can she at least not be in my class?
Right.
After she just screwed up your whole credibility in that school. Because, the thing was, the reason why she was able to get the pictures is she stole the teacher's phone and got into the teacher's phone and took her personal pictures and posted them. Wasn't suspended or anything.
Nothing. Just no recourse.
And that's my whole thing. So you're giving her the impression it's okay to do that. But she's going to be the first one in these streets to get shot when you go and steal some other chick's phone and she's just going to shoot you on sight. Like,
right.
These people are they're getting a false sense of security. The sad part is none of them know how to fight. So that's why you all are going to get shot because no one decided to. Right. Listen, when we were coming up, you learn how to fight.
I know.
Plain and simple. You know how to fight.
One learns
Not these young people. They'll pick up a gun. They're lazy. They don't even want to work. You're like, sit down and shut up. And the crazy part is they look at it like, oh, they think they know so much. Y'all are dumb as shit this generation.
Very stupid.
Y'all don't research anything. Y'all Google something and copy the shit down for school. Right. Half the time you're copying off somebody else's paper. Yeah. And then the school looks at it like, oh, keep moving them along. Right. You don't even give a shit what level of reading they are. You just want them in and out so you can keep it moving on.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Yeah, they're not
These young people are just ridiculous. Like, and when you go to say something or talk to them, like, they'll look at you like you're bothering them. And you'll be like, you'll probably be dead next week, bitch. I don't have time. Okay. You'll be like, all right. Okay, all right. I see you. Like, one thing I'm not going to do is, I don't make irrelevant people relevant. Bitch, I'm not going to argue with you.
That's a good point. It's a really good phrase.
Yeah, I don't.
No, in school now, what is it? ODD or like it's just oppositional defiant disorder. Like they when a kid, which is it's funny they put an order on it because there is a moment. I've been in these schools. I don't know if you know this about me. I've went to a school where I was worked for a college for a long time, and just they were I had to find places to go speak to kids and stuff like that. So I was on my own, and they were just like, go find anywhere, find a place. 100 places. This place I went to was a school for kids who had basically no other place to go. I did not know this at the time. Now, mind you, they have every right to hear my message as well, but I will say that it didn't really make much sense because they probably wouldn't possibly be able to afford the college. That's the issue is like, these kids need different programs. Like, this isn't going to work. These kids are, specifically, they've either been violent. No one else will take them. That's literally what they told me. They were like, no one else will take them. Like, this is before jail. I was okay. So we're going to go in there and talk about college right now?
Thank you.
That's going to be a little bit, like, I look like an idiot, in other words.
Right. That's like doing the most motivational speaking for some of these kids. And the part that gets me is when you come in for that motivational speech and you're like, all of you are going to be great. Stop lying to them. 60% of you are going to be Lyft drivers. Yeah. 29% of you can be at your mom's.
Yep.
And then some of y'all get a job. And then some of y'all going to ask me what I like fries with my shake and all this other with your note, being able to employ ass. But don't lie to them like, you're all great. No, you're not all great. No, you're not. You're not all great. Some of you are dumb as shit. Some of you are just getting by.
Not me.
Some of you don't have talent. I don't want you lying to these kids. Don't set them up for failure. Don't do that to them. Be like, you know what? You're fabulous. Nah, but you're all right, though. But I mean, you can make yourself better or, just get a good self-esteem on your head. You'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. But you're not wrong about the tenor, like the tenor and like the way that they acted. Because like the kids were like, I got a fucking suit on when I'm there. I got a tie on. Like, and the kids have this. Yeah, don't even already laugh. Don't laugh. Did you laugh a little bit? I did have a tie on, which is like legitimately like old school, stupid, like stereotype of like the dorky white dude walking into a school. And I'm like, hey, all right, shut up. I didn't know. I didn't know. But I was like, yeah, I'm like, hey guys, listen, I did not do the pitch in the same way, obviously. I was like, you guys could, if you work hard now. Like, I was like, you need to work hard at this before I was very clear.
I would have been like, some of y'all just too dumb to even catch the fuck one. So, I mean, you might want to find something that's real easy for you.
Oh, and they all were. It's funny when you talk about, like, looking past you. Like, a lot of the kids were just like, as soon as I get out of here, the real world is outside, and the real world is where drugs and things happen that are
half
bad.
Half of them were probably high while, they smoked weed before they came to the auditorium for the thing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. No, there was no auditorium. This is a bunch of, this is up on Roosevelt Boulevard. This is outside of a mental home. No joke. They had trailers lined up that they had connected together. That's where these kids were. And I'm like, okay, well, these kids feel like they're already not doing well. Like, they already are.
They're already behind the eight ball.
They're like, okay, well, this can't be good. I'm going to a shit hole every day, like, to really figure it out. But at the same time, it's wild. It's really wild when you see what the education system's like, and just how some kids are just left, which goes into the story where you're just like, you're what you said, dad died, shot at the door, right? Gunned down.
Right, yeah. He was gunned down, AK-47 at the door right before she turned 1. Then her brother was murdered.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cycle of violence.
Then Tuka was killed.
Cycle of violence. It's just going to keep going.
Then she kills Odie Perry. Then Taquan Tyler was killed. Like, once you keep seeing all these deaths, and then you want to keep avenging every death, it's just going to be a chain reaction. Like, the murders and the names it gets ridiculous.
Yeah,
like, you lose sight of how many murders you have and how many bodies it is. It's just sad.
Yeah, you and your girlfriend were right about like irked about the school to prison pipeline. Like, it's like, yo, if your schools are failing so hard that like
these kids don't have a chance. That's the part that makes you mad. Some of these schools, they just don't have a chance.
Right.
And goodness knows I'm not going to name any schools.
And I do want to say this to all the teachers, because we have teachers on the podcast here, like, and we also get it that the teachers, the students need to meet you halfway. Like, I'm not an idiot. Like, I get it.
But I feel like the teachers are being underappreciated though, right 100%. Now. Because you don't understand what they're going through in these classrooms.
Right.
Like, these kids act a fool, okay?
Yeah, just seeing what they can get away with.
Lucky I don't name that one high school. Horrendous. Yeah, I would come for their neck, but I'll be nice.
Okay, I got you. That's all good. I mean, we can do them in plugs. I think we should plug the high school.
I like shoes. I just don't know who make them all the time.
I love it.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. I'm petty. Neil, what shows do you have coming up? I know you have shows.
You might have just checked this over at Myers Brewing Company this past Friday. If you did, cool. Depending on when this comes out. But we are there at Myers Brewing Company in Fishtown, Philadelphia, every second and fourth Friday. Typically 2 shows. So grab those tickets early. You know what I mean? Grab them up. They're only $12. droptent.com/events. And you can check me July 22nd at Atlantic City Comedy Club, hosting for John Moses. And I think Sonia Z will be on that lineup, and so it's a great show, so check that out. And what else I got coming up? Oh, of course, we got Wissahickon Brewing Company coming up this month with July 28th, and that's right in Philly as well. And Crown of Creation in South Philly as well, and that'll be July 22nd with Matt Himes. I also am double booked. You did hear me say the same day twice, so I won't be at that show. I will be in Atlantic City, but it's run by Drop Tent, and it's a great show, so buy those tickets. They're only $5 right now for the first 5 people.
Okay, so, that's excellent.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna come out and bother you at one of your shows.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I plan on doing it. Also, though, I wanted to plug someone's business. Definitely, if you are in the Clifton Heights area, check out Ram's Tavern. It's 25 East Broadway Avenue, right in Clifton Heights, and their hours are Sunday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. They also have a pool table in there for you to be able to play pool. They have leagues that play out there during the week and whatnot. They always have drink specials every day, and they have excellent food, and they also have pizza. So definitely check out Ram's Pizza Tavern. It's a great place to go if you want to have drinks, happy hour, get drink specials, or even play pool. And of course, on the weekends, they have a DJ. So you have to check out all their specials and show support.
Yeah.
But I also want to thank everybody who not only tunes in, but subscribes, likes, and also comments on our shows. We appreciate all your support, and we look forward to staying on top of shows and being able to bring you all the content. But please, no matter what, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment to our videos. And please message me. Let me know what crimes you want to hear about and what you want to talk about. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Comedian Shari, or you can go on Facebook and follow me under Shari Franklin. Neil, it is always great working with you, as always.
Of course, always great to see you.
You're really appreciated. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Everybody, have a great night. Thank you.
This has been Crimes to Remember with Comedian Shari. Subscribe on YouTube at Crimes to Remember, rate and review us on your favorite audio platform, and follow us on Instagram at Comedian Shari.
How you doing? This is Neil Wood from the Cult of Us podcast, speaking on behalf of Drop 10 Media Network, the network you're currently listening to. Make sure to check out all the other podcasts on the network. You can go to drop10.com to check them all out. Make sure to like, subscribe on everything that you see Drop 10 on. We appreciate it. Go to drop10.com now.
This has been a Drop 10 Media production.